All right, hello everybody, and welcome to today's Wednesday lighting critique. We've got a few images to go through. I've got a question I wanted to get to off the top. We have Ashley, and Dani here today. So welcome to you all, and we are going to get started. The first thing I wanted to do was talk to about Sooner's question that he had. So his question was basically that he was saying that this scene was lit by two sky dome lights, and he was wondering how they were able to get shaping with just two sky dome lights. I'll break this down into a couple things. One, I want to talk about like what is a sky dome light. So let me actually just make a new thing here, just so I can draw it out. So basically, like let's say you have a scene where you have a ground plane, and in this scene this is really going to be awesome drawings. You've got like the vehicle, there's a wheel up there too. You've got like a little girl in there. So what the sky dome light is, it's a light that gets, basically it's like do that again. It's like a hemisphere all around the scene, and it kind of shoots lights in from all over. It's meant to simulate the sky. Now, what can happen is, I meant to have this pulled up. You can do something to that, which by default, it's just like a solid color or a solid value, and then it just like shoots light in from all angles onto the scene, and like in a kind of a hemisphere dome around it. What you can do is you can add an HDRI map to it. HDRI Haven. And what those look like are something like this, which is basically like a spherical projection of the scene, of like an environment with an actual lighting scenario. So lots of times you'll do this, like let's say you're shooting, let's look at this one. This is a photo studio with this overhead light, and there's some kind of bed or something there in the middle. So let's say you're shooting a commercial for bed sheets or something in this room, and for whatever reason you need to have the company's 3D character standing next to the bed here. What you would do is you go to the location, you shoot the commercial, the VFX supervisor would be there, and they'd shoot something like this to get an idea of what the lighting is like in the room. You would then take this map and then map it onto the surface, and since it's a spherical map, it'll get mapped on. And what happens is, instead of this generating light in a constant manner, it would find the values in the HDRI map that are lower or higher. Like the darker colors will emit less light, and the brighter colors will emit more light. And the thing with HDRI images is usually they're EXR files, which means that they can, like this is probably a value of 4 or 5, like way above 1. So it'll actually generate more light. So that's how you can get more shaping in an HDRI or like in a sky dome light. And you can see like in one of the kind of a telltale sign of it is these reflections in the window, because lots of times the HDRI map, you can have it show up in reflections if you want. And that actually looks like an HDRI map reflection, because actually it looks a little low res to me and looks a little bit stretched out. So there's that and that's how you would generate a good shaping with the sky dome light. The downside of that is you don't have much control over it. You can rotate it, you can kind of adjust the intensity, but like it's kind of baked in there and you don't really have too much control. Now you mentioned using 2 dome lights. I've never heard of that before, because all that's doing is taking this light and just putting an identical light like right over top of it. And it would kind of like, I guess they could work together, but like usually like it's like one dome light that has either a color and HDRI map, and then you start adding, like area lights or spotlights in there or something. Man, this is a great drawing. So it's usually a complement to the other lights in the scene, or it's meant to mimic a lighting scenario that happened outside. So I don't know why they would use 2 of them, but sky dome lights themselves are incredibly valuable, incredibly useful, incredibly helpful. They make stuff look good. All those good things. So I just want to answer that out of the gate. Let's see. Next up we have Ashley. Ashley, this is your newer version, correct? This is the previous one. So, all right, cool. So we're getting more richness out of, like, I'm seeing it more in the in this I want to call it wicker. Is that okay? I think it's wicker, right? I don't know what it's called, but we're seeing some more saturation, some more warmth out of there, which is really good. I do think that that's the second time I've done that. Oh, she's back? Okay. I thought I dandied her, where I said something that offended her and made her go away. But I do think, let's see from the previous version. I actually, this is gonna sound silly, I actually kind of like the old camera angle a little bit better, too. Like, there's something about the fact that we can, like, compositionally, it feels, I don't know why it feels a little bit better. I don't know. What do you guys think, Dani or Ashley or Diana? Do you guys have a preference? We'll call this 1 and 2.
I like the camera angle on 1, but I like that she turned and there's more leaves in 2. It also helps fill up a bit.
Yeah. The coffee cup size feels a lot better in 1.
I like the second one.
Yeah. You know what it is? Some of it's like this dead area over here. It's like, it's a little like this if you took this skull and pushed it over a little bit, I think that would be better, because it just feels like there's a little bit of dead space. But yeah, I mean, I think overall I just kind of like this one better. I like that we can see more of the wicker thing. I like that these are falling off a little bit more. Yeah. But the new plants are nice. You're getting good specularity on there. I think overall two big things would be, again, to brighten the what's going on out here, like expose that up a little bit to make that brighter. And then number 2 is, I really do think that if we're, like, judging from the reference that you had posted yesterday, I do think that we can add more warmth to this overall. Let's go ahead and see if we can, like, just something along those lines that makes it feel a little bit more sunny, makes it feel a little bit more warmth in there. I also think you could probably go a little darker, maybe back here, and allow some of this to step forward a little bit. But the shaping is good. Like I said, I think the fill value you've got is really nice. It's just styling in some of those other areas a little bit.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Would exposing the background be something you do during lighting or in comp?
So I always do the backgrounds as a separate element, like as a if it's geometry, if that's actually like a building back there, I would render that as separately. If it's an image plane, I would do it. I would have it as obviously a separate element in the comp, and then I would up the exposure of it there.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. And the big thing on that, though, is if it's a JPEG, you might run into problems. Because if it's a JPEG, then what ends up happening, like we have a JPEG here because this was posted to Discord. Like if I took this and exposed it up, like one of the let me go real extreme. So one of the things that starts to happen is, actually this one isn't as bad, but like these darker areas, it's weird. They still feel dark but lifted, and it's because we're taking a value of like 0.05 and trying to pull it up, and there just isn't detail in there to like really kind of pull it out of there. So like looking at because what can happen is, like, even though we can go like super extreme like this, like these darker areas that are in here never quite go brighter the way that we want. And so that's one thing you have to watch out for when you're upping the exposure level on a background plate, if it's on the XR.
CRI, and I tried to do it through like while lighting in the sky dome, and then it just ended up overexposing the skull, and I kind of started to lose the back of the skull a little bit.
Yeah, think of them as two totally separate things. Think of them as the light that's contributing to the scene, and then the way it looks as the outside element. Don't feel like they have to be the same.
Okay.
All right, cool. Right. So let's hop over into actually, yeah, and I don't want to forget about this. We do have one animation as well, but I do want to hop over into Dani's shot now. So let's see. All right. So we've got Dani. We talked about adding some specularity into the book. So we've got so you generated this kind of metal only pass. Where you turned everything into like a shiny, specular, reflective-y goodness. And then you added it to this scene in some select areas, and you can see, oh, dang, I messed that up. And you added it to some select areas, and you can see how it's like kind of upping that a little bit. Now you added, you did some crypto matting to get that into place there. And just like have it affect some of the books and a little bit on the mantle, which I think works really well. And kind of getting it in those areas. So, I mean, honestly, I think it's working really well. The one area. Actually, let me do it this way. How do I do this? Yeah, I'm gonna merge it. I'll plus it over top. Plus. So, yeah. So, I mean, we could see some of the problems if we, and we talked about this a little bit. Like, I want to ignore the ground right now, just because we've lost like the texture of the carpeting and the texture of the ground. And anytime that you add like something like this over the top of it, it's just gonna feel like a, you know. It's gonna feel like there's something flat on top of it. So a couple other areas that I think that could benefit from this is like, let's do this. Like I like some of what's happening up around here. Pick that out of there. So like, you can kind of see it. So like, I like that we're getting some specular highlights up around here. I like what's going on in the thing that the swords are on. Do you know what I mean? There's just like more shaping in there, and I do think that does add some benefit. I think what's going on in the books is really cool. It might be like the books might be a little bit heavy. But I think it's good. The other area I was just looking at was like the back of this chair. This feels aggressive, but like let's see if we can add in just like a little bit. So if I was doing this and I wanted to add just like a little bit in that region, I would take this roto and then turn down the opacity on it since it's already in a stack. So like, even something like this, it's feeling a little cool. Oh, wrong one. Wait, which one is it? Weird. Oh, I see. Weird. There we go. Huh. Can't get that one to be much warmer. Either way, I think it was too cool overall. But I do like the fact that there's a little bit going on back here. Even that might be a little bit too much.
Should I try rendering it out a different way?
No. Let's see it.
I'm wondering what it would look like with bump,
Yeah.
like with all the bump maps on the metal shaders.
Yeah, that's the biggest one because that's breaking in the final look. That's actually breaking your, the shader work that you've done already because it's just like the specular highlight feels flat and it's not picking up any of that stuff. So yeah, I would add the bumps in there. And I'm trying to think if there's any like looking at this. If there are any other areas that we think that this would be really beneficial on.
Should I try to place this layer without the metal on top of it and then it still keeps all the bounces and stuff maybe?
Say that again? If you...
Instead of plussing the metal onto this,
Yeah.
to take the general thing and plussing it over the metal. Would that help? Because maybe that way I can keep all the textures. I mean, just get the subtle hint.
Yeah, as long as you have the bump there, it will work. I think you need the bump in there either way.
Yeah.
So, but I was looking at adding it a little bit to these bottles too. I think that helps as well. Rick. But yeah, adding it, I mean, that might be a little strong there. But adding it to just these little bit of areas, I think like you can see, I talk about adding spec all the time. My wife has, like, she's heard me say it over and over again. She has no idea what I'm talking about half the time. But she was like, but like you can see how, like from here to here, like how much more life and yeah, almost like movement there is in the room with just some of these elements. So yeah, does that? But I would continue to just refine this one, and then add in the bump of the floor and the couch and stuff, and then use that in your comp to just paint in some areas. I mean, like, and you could just do it just the way that I did, where you're using rotos to isolate certain areas. Put this inside of that, and then I'm gonna take this out, and then you could just take that and plus this into the scene.
What did you put inside?
So these roto shapes. So let me zoom in here so you can can you see that? So
Yeah.
all it is like you can do it one of two ways, and actually the inside node is not the best of the two. So I can either say take this element and I want to isolate it to these three roto shapes, right? These three that I drew.
Yeah.
You can either say take the A side and merge them inside the B side, which is all of these individual shapes, or but the problem with doing it this way is, like, if I had it here and I actually that's not gonna work, and I disable it, like it actually makes the original go away, which isn't always good. So sometimes what you would do this as, instead of an in operator, you would do it as a mask. Let me see, as a mask operator. Mask. Guys, just mix up. And that way, when you A/B that, when you disable this, it leaves all of the original on it. Does that make sense? Like why that would,
Yeah.
so like you can look at this and be like, oh, now this is everything, now this is nothing. So it's and I kind of like the reflectivity inside here too a little bit in the window. But yeah. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
Cool.
definitely.
Cool. Yeah, good job with that.
Wait, last question?
Yeah.
Is the warmth on the swords okay now? Should we go more?
I've been staring at those too long. Diana, what do you think?
I think you can go more, but I'm wondering why it's so cold.
Yeah.
Like, is it the shader? Why is it all? Well, I guess you don't have anything else metal in the scene right now.
Right, because it just like appears to be reflecting something that's not there. Yeah, I'm not sure why it would be that cold.
Are you talking about the swords themselves, or just which part's cold?
The
You
sword.
can keep it a little warm, but the little like lens on it that are warm look nice.
Yeah, true. Yeah, but it's because the swords themselves are like, their look is defined by the reflection, and therefore the reflections look cool. Therefore they look cool. Yeah, Yeah, it's just interesting that they came out that way. It's like it's really odd that you're just surrounded by warmth and then you have this reflective thing and it reflects cool, and I don't understand why. Yeah. All right.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. All right, let's take a look at Antonio's here.
Andrew's doing a free promo.
Oh, wow. Sorry, my wife just came in with a crazy amount of free giveaway stuff from something. I don't know where she was. Well, I'm going to find that out later. All right, so let's take a look at this. So we're trying to get more. Let's see if we get some more key light on that. Yeah, that looks good. Yeah, that looks good. I like this. I'll open it up for talking if anybody has any. Like the only thing, and again, you can leave it as is, but I would. You know, this is only because of Danny. Danny brought this up yesterday about getting the characters to pop off the environment and the interior of the car and something like this. Is changing the interior color of the car, but that seems like a lot at this point. But I may not mess with it. I think this looks good. Do you guys have any notes on this? Is there anybody seeing anything that I'm missing?
Yeah, this looks good.
Yeah, right. It just looks like really sound. Like it looks like really clean.
Yeah. I can't tell if I'm crazy, but it looks a little grayer, I guess, than the other day.
The car interior stuff. Yeah, I thought so too. Like it feels desaturated. That might be.
Maybe they did it in comp, but it looks good.
Yeah.
I think this is right up.
Yeah.
Right. Please.
Yeah, I think you know what I think. I would say I would call it done. If you don't mind, again, I would like to add this to the Hall of Fame if possible. So if you could send this over, that would be great. Yay! That's good.
Yay!
It's great. Like I said, it's super great. And this is it's funny because like I didn't really have that many notes for this shot overall, and this is a really complex shot. It's like a spinning car. There's like reflections. It's not easy. So really great job with this. All right. So Saumik, Tristan here to take two, right? Okay. So let's go through. We've got a couple others to go through. So this was just Emma, and Emma was just cleaning up some noise stuff. Because it sounds like you were using mesh lights, which generate a lot of noise and fireflies and that kind of thing. So it sounds like you have a solution now that was pushing it more in, like allowing you to add the brightness more in the comp, which is good. And I do wonder if, and we can build towards this because we are losing a little bit of the brightness down here. And I do really want, again, I just really want that to play that up as being like the different thing that scares him and makes him fall down and all that good stuff. So, but I think everything else is looking good. I want to see more because it looks like you're just doing some tech cleanup stuff before I make additional comments. But the added brightness from the outside looks really good too. So good job there. Saumik, so we had your reference before, and I think we can go a little, like, and you definitely toned it down a little bit, but I think we can go more, a little bit brighter overall, like something more like this, because it was starting to, like, without the reference, it does feel a little bit dusty. So I think you can push the brightness just a little bit stronger. I think the key to fill ratio is working out pretty well now. I think the teeth can go a little brighter. They feel a little gray. This character, man, with this, like his arm texture, I think it's his rig gets twisted very easily. But that looks good. I think maybe the rim light can come down slightly. It feels a little bit strong. It's just because it kind of competes with the key light a little bit. Like bring it down maybe 20%. Yeah, and if it was a different character, I would say to try and get a little more spec in this fill area. See if you can with this guy. I know he's a little bit more diffuse and gummy, but see if you can't get like some little bit of specular highlight in there. And with the subsurface on the ear, I think that's cool. But this is part of the reason why the rim looks strong, is you really only see that when like a key light is back behind the character, right? Like with him clearly going into the key light this way, you definitely want to tone that down slightly. And then last up we have Tristan. with his update here. I think the mats and the frames look good. I think there's more shaping on the screen left side, which looks good. There's like more value overall. Let's see. Let's do our little trick here. I just want to see the like kind of. So I do this when I look at luminosity of something. Just color. And it's nice to kind of look at the grayscale of this and just based on the luminance, because it really does, like, this area really is popping over here, and there really is value differences in here, even though it's kind of darker, and that's working out really well. I'm trying to think if there's anything. Anything standing out to you guys? I feel like this is looking pretty good. Let me back up a little bit.
Yeah, I think it looks nice. Maybe I think the yellow part of the pictures are a little too bright on the wall and on the floor.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, definitely on the floor, and then maybe like these couple are feeling a little saturated. Whoa, not that. Like these.
yeah, I feel like I want it to be darker than the plane.
Yeah.
But other than that,
Yeah, that's fair. But yeah, just pull a little saturation off of those. But other than that, I think it's great. I think you're doing great, Tristan. All right, cool. Well, that is it for today. Does anyone have any questions or need anything before we hop for the day? I think I got to figure out why my wife came home with like 6 glass bottles of fizzy water. And she went out for a run and she came back with like, she's like, look what I found. I was like, so we got to figure that out real quick. But you all have a wonderful day, and I'll talk to you guys soon.
you too.
All right, bye. Have a good one.
Bye.